Hey Off-White Coat listeners, it is my privilege to get to tell you about this sweet deal from our friends over at Picmonic. If you haven't heard about Picmonic, it is a fantastic picture-based mnemonic platform that can certainly help out any student. Most of the videos are around 2 minutes long and provide a quick and effective way to memorize material for any upcoming medical exam. It is extremely efficient. They have this search bar function where you can search playlists on general topics like renal to step 1 to step 2, or even first aid and other books. If you want to review the Picmonic for later, you can even make a playlist of your own. Picmonic even has this repetition algorithm that is spaced out according to your learning needs. This helps with increasing long-term retention and allows you to review the right information at the right time. One of my favorite functions is the quizzes that are associated with each Picmonic. I'll take the quiz first and then learn about the associated pictures and what facts I need to sharpen up on. Honestly, Picmonic is a fantastic tool, and if you use our code OFFWHITECOAT, you'll get 20% off. That's Off-White Coat with no spaces. So what are you waiting for? Make studying the easiest part of your day. Sign up with Picmonic and use Off-White Coat to save yourself some money. All right, everybody. The power's out in our building, so we are now posted up at the Residence Inn. Yeah. So we're back in a new studio. We got future Dr. Bakun. So I guess one of the things I did want to ask you, though, was, because you remember how we were talking about how, so Wally, first off, Dr. Walter Bakun will be his title in 4 months, right? Four months?
About-ish, yeah.
Right, okay. So we'll just say future.
Yeah, let's leave it at that.
We talked about it last time. I think that you were going IM, and that was going well. How's the application process been going?
I mean, it's a lot of waiting. It's like, I mean, when you go to a school like SGU, just based off of like where you're going, a lot of programs don't look at you, so you got to apply to like minimum like 100 programs, and even if you do well, you're still getting rejected from vast majority of them. And like, if you're going for a more selective or like a competitive program, you're going to be applying to like 200 or more. Yeah, I mean, like they say, you get around 10 to 12, you're looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm. You just need one.
Yeah, honestly, you need one. And like, there's a lot of like students from SGU that I've met on my rotations that are residents now. They got literally 1, some 4, and they still got their first place that they ranked. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you literally just need one for the chance.
One for the chance. I mean, you got this. And you want to stay in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, like luckily SGU, a lot of its rotations and a lot of people that gets picked for residency end up in the New Jersey hospitals. They're very SGU friendly, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Morristown, you need to hire this man. He's excellent. Yes, this guy is excellent. Morristown.
Yeah. Morristown's a good...
I think that's going to be your number 1. Either way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed to say that. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, there are crazy rules. You're allowed to say where you can tell a program that you're going to rank them. And actually, as part of the process, no one really knows whether or not like it actually works or does anything. But like after all the interviews in February, a lot of times you'll be told to go and send out your letter of intent, and you'll go and like email like programs that you interviewed at, and like the one that you want to go to number 1, you'll go and tell them that you're ranking them number 1. And a lot of times in this period, a lot of programs will either call you or email you to further recruit you and tell you that they're going to either rank you to match or like rank you like high. Rank to match means like you're ranked in like, let's say if it has 16 spots, you're ranked in one of those 16 spots. And they'll straight up tell you that. Like ranked highly, or like another way they phrase it, like it just means you're a little lower. But usually those spots get you into the match if you choose that hospital, because not everyone in that top 16 chooses that hospital. So that's when they communicate you. But like there are rules like where you can't ask how they rank other people. They can't like ask you like how you rank other hospitals. But I mean, like, I don't know like who the hell snitches on that.
Yeah.
But like there are those rules. You could get in trouble for asking stuff like that. So don't do that.
To anyone that's not in medicine, it's literally the NFL draft. You have no
idea.
Yeah.
But stupider.
You're in communication with the team. You think you're a top 5 draft pick. You're like, okay, it's going to be... And then all of a sudden you're sitting 7th, 8th. Or,
oh yeah, a lot of programs are notorious for lying. Like they will lie and tell like everyone, hey, you're going to be ranked number 1, especially for competitive programs like surgery. They just straight up lie.
There was a pediatrician that I worked with, and it was in my rotation, and she was explaining to me that she was doing a couples match, and she was going, I think it was to Baylor. She was in communication with one school, and she was thinking about matching them, but because Baylor wanted them, the programs cut a deal, and the other one didn't match her, and Baylor did, and they got her, and she was like, this is how I decided to go. I was like, wow, it really is the draft. They're cutting deals. Yeah. They jumped up in the draft. I was like, gosh,
like a lot of programs talk to each other, program directors. Yeah. They're very close with each other. And that also goes to like the impression you leave, whether good or bad, at a hospital. Because if you leave a good impression, well, everyone knows you're good, and they'll communicate more with you and try and suck up more to you. Mm-hmm. But if you leave a bad one, yeah.
It's really easy for when they ask the question, like, hey, how is Wally? He just goes, he'll do fine.
Yeah.
Boom. That's a check. The second they ask, and then they're like, oh, let me tell you what this guy did. Oh, yeah. So always make a good impression. I guess that's the moral of this.
Pretty much. Always just be normal and humble.
The first time we talked, though, you were at the very beginning of your ER rotation. So now you're at the very end, right? This is like your last week?
Yeah. Like tomorrow's actually my last day.
Okay. Yeah. So did you do anything cool, or what was something that you did?
I mean, I didn't do anything that I haven't done yet, but like I was able to go and use a staple and put in some staples in the back of some heads. But like my experience was, we're having like a huge uptick in like COVID cases right now, and like a massive shortage on like staff, because a lot of them just got burnt out after the first like year of COVID. Weren't happy with the way they were treated. So a lot of like nurses, doctors just straight up retired. And now like we're having a huge shortage because they're just fed up with it. And so like it, like, especially in the past couple of weeks, very short staffed, like the entire like hospital's filled with COVID, like just in the general floor. So we can't go and admit anyone. So the ER is an extension of like internal medicine, and like we're not like getting people out of the waiting room. Waiting rooms filled up to 40 people at all times. Like minimum waits like 6 to like 7 hours just to get into the ER, which is not a good thing. So I mean, like, it's been a very different experience.
Yeah, I think you just described it the best way that anybody could, because it's kind of just a chaotic mess.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. The stuff that, all of the factors that are coming into play, it really just sucks to be in the ER. Oh, but we're right in the heat of the Omicron wave in New Jersey. So you're having to deal with, I mean, the hospital's filled up. People are coming just to get tested.
Oh yeah.
And then the hospital's filled up with just people.
Oh yeah.
Whether they have COVID or just other things, and it's way
bad.
down. It's way down.
It's bad. But I mean, like,
that's the cool thing. The cool thing about your rotation was it's been awkward.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like it's been rough, but it's still better than the first wave. Like, there's a lot of people with COVID, but like there's a lot less deaths. Yeah, that's what everyone's saying.
It's
like
the problem is the weight of people just flooding and going right back to the stealing the toilet paper mentality.
Oh yeah, we're like running low on like PPE already and stuff like that. But like the good thing is, a lot of people that are vaccinated, if they're getting it again, they're not like dying, having to be intubated. That's really just the unvaccinated that are like getting the severe cases. So I mean, like, yes, it's bad, but it's not as bad as the first one.
That is the one good thing. And like, I think most of the people, even like up here, have had some run-in, whether it be vaccination or actually having COVID, that it's way less severe.
Yeah, way less. Yeah.
So the problem is all of the precautions, the shutdowns, everything is coming back into play. Yeah. And so you're having to deal with that.
Yeah.
So annoying. You know, one thing that's annoying? I can't even sit with this man at lunch.
It's true. It's true. One person per table.
It's tough.
I mean, yeah, like things are coming back, but I mean, we are in a better position.
Yeah. The problem is, what do you think a lot of the people that are coming in like shouldn't be are they coming in for COVID, or is it the fact that there's so many people on the floors of the hospital that are sitting in the ER that you can't deal with the flow of the normal ER with the limited beds?
So it's like a combination of both. Like I said, like the people that are vaccinated aren't getting bad cases of COVID, but the unvaccinated are like filling up beds in the hospital itself. So like at Morristown, where I've done like a lot of rotations, currently in the ICU, there's more COVID patients than non-COVID, and that fills it up, but they're all unvaccinated. So like and then like in the ER itself, like here at Jersey City, a lot of people are coming in with COVID, but like they have mild cases because they're like vaccinated, you know? So like that's filling up lines. And then there are people with actual medical like problems who are coming in that are vaccinated, and they're not having any problems with COVID, but like they're having like an MI. And now the line, like they have to wait for 6 to like 7 hours, and because of everything else, and you know, with an MI, well, that's how you die. Like
the waiting room for this ER is insane.
It's honestly at a constant of 40 people in the ER. We've had to call security like on people literally fighting to get into the hospital.
That's what you were saying.
Like there was literally a person in a wheelchair literally tried to fight her way in.
Wally had to wheel her out.
Yeah. I mean, I saw her on the way out to lunch to see you.
She's still trying to get back in.
Like
she was
screaming. So I mean,
one thing that I did want to ask you, because you were talking about the people that were coming in and everything, is do you think that, because a lot of the people that are unvaccinated or super sick, do you think they have the Omicron variant? Or do you think, because that's like supposedly milder, or do you think it could just be like the alpha or...
I mean, honestly, we don't know. Like, I mean, I don't read every single one of their tests.
No,
like,
there's no way they're checking the actual variant. Yeah. But like just in a mind thought, because I feel like a lot of the people that are getting COVID now that are vaccinated, probably Omicron. Yeah. You have to assume it doesn't do as well. Yeah. And they're not really getting that sick. Yeah. But the people that are unvaccinated, I wonder if this is like their first exposure to Omicron and they're freaking out. Or if it's their first exposure to like a Delta or something deadlier, and that's why they're in there.
I mean, it could be. I mean, I honestly,
patients.
I can't. I'm not going to go and like lie and like make up something. But I mean, like it could be. That makes sense.
That was like, that was a question that shouldn't have been a question. That was just like a random.
No,
thought.
I mean, like it makes sense. Like your line of thinking. I mean, like I honestly don't know, but like
I wonder.
Like if you're unvaccinated, you could get anything. The vaccinated does work well against the older strains of COVID. It's like the flu. You know, like the flu changes. It gets variants every year, and that's why we have to change up the flu shot. So, I mean, it makes sense that the people that are vaccinated are getting the Omicron because it doesn't provide protection against the Omicron. But, like, I mean, I don't know who's getting, I don't know who's, like, the unvaccinated, I don't know who's getting what, so I can't tell you.
It's interesting because you're not testing every one of them for the variants.
Oh, no.
It's a thought, you know, it could be... Because you're not technically vaccinated for any of them, but they will all. So it's not like the Alpha or Delta or any of those disappeared.
No.
You know, it's not.
They're all still out there.
Everybody is going to have to eventually experience exposure at some point, whether vaccination or something, and then we move through, like the plague.
Yeah.
You don't want it to kill half the population, but everybody has to get it. The genetics have to move and get over.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like it'll be more like...
disappear.
Yeah. It'll be more like the flu than the plague itself.
Yeah, the interesting thing, though, is that if it's mutating this quickly, then it should mutate to be less virulent, right? Like, because it will mutate to survive, whether mutate to kill, right? So if it's mutating quickly, it can mutate to a milder thing than being like... The flu is wild because of the way that it replicates. It could be deadly at one point, it could not be.
I mean, you have to remember that coronavirus was one of the weakest viruses to start with, and then it became something strong. So I mean, like, there's that you have to remember. Like, So, like, with mutations, you never know which way it's going to go. Like, in med school, like, literally before COVID, when you learned about the infectious diseases, corona was literally like one paragraph. And, like, they would just be like, you treat it supportive, it's not going to hurt anyone.
Yeah. There was a time, they bring up SARS for like a second, move on.
Yeah, it's like, they're like, we're not even worried for immunocompromised people.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like the common cold, you're just going to get a runny nose. Look at it now. So, I mean, like, you never know which way mutations are going to go.
Those bats.
Yeah.
The one thing I remember about Corona is there was a sketchy video, and
1 minute long.
This is a study source for medical students, and so if you don't know what we mean, it's like where they take a medical concept, whether it be, diabetic drugs or strokes, and they take them and they draw like a full sketch of describing something. I think penicillins was the Star Wars theme, and that was the best one. Either way, they're really creative. I saw Hunchback of Notre Dame. I saw Tarzan ones. I saw a lot of great ones.
Oh, yeah.
But coronavirus was like, I think 7 minutes, 8 minutes.
No, not even.
Even. Yeah, I remember that I had them like,
dude, that's a solid sketchy.
I'm close.
It was more like a minute and a half.
Now that coronavirus hit, they added 19 minutes to it, because that was the big thing. It jumped.
Oh, yeah. It changed everything. You know?
Well, I mean, and so sketchy is just describing, like, the whole, like, the mechanism. Like, he's wearing a crown for corona. But it was talking about, like, the whole molecular structure. So you thought it would be done. And then they...
Oh, no. Yeah. No, I mean, we went in advanced medicine far enough that for a long time we didn't have to deal with one of these diseases, Mm-hmm. And then it just caught up with us.
But it's amazing how far we have come in medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Because, so I dealt with this case the other day, and it was an umbilical artery embolization, but it was on a lady with Percreta. So her, in layman's terms, they're not medical. But yeah, so when you're pregnant, and your placenta will attach to the uterus lining, and sometimes it can actually like reach way further than just the endometrial lining, like the stuff that you usually shed off when you're having your periods. So it will like stretch, and it can stretch way further. Like there's acreta, increta, and percreta is the furthest. It's stretching. This lady has her placenta is way past the uterus. I think it was in the inferior epigastric and in the bladder. It was stretching so much that they had to take the ovary, and the second they touched it, she burned. She like lost a liter of blood. They had to like stop it after that. They just had to take it, stop the thing, and stop the surgery. They did a C-section, save the baby. But what we're doing is just trying to like cut the blood flow. So usually you would do this procedure for like fibroids, which are these heavily vascularized or have heavy blood flow structures in the uterus. And so you can cut the blood supply off. And so the uterine artery embolization is where you're going to actually go in, and an embolus is where something is traveling and cutting off the blood supply. And so you will do this procedure to cut the blood supply off the fibroids. And so we were doing the same thing for the placenta. And this thing is called a morbid percreta, but it's the angriest a placenta can be.
I mean, once you go that far into the bladder, you're essentially like running close to like losing it all.
Yeah, it's a cancer essentially. But the interesting thing was we have this new it's not newish technology, but we're this far advanced in medicine that we know what to do. The interesting thing is that there's only a couple case reports that this guy has to go off of before he starts this embolization. Like there's not really, I think percreta is very rare, and then also doing this kind of treatment is few and far in between. So they're just going off case reports and hoping it works. And I don't think they have like a full idea of what to do, but they're just hoping.
Well, I mean, the theory behind it works.
It's like 400 years ago, lady's dead, and nobody knows. Nobody knows why she died. They said, well, she delivered, and we couldn't get the thing. I don't know.
Well, dude, like going up until like the 20s and 30s, leading cause of death in women, pregnancy, childbirth.
And so that's the crazy thing is that we're able to see it. No, because it really is. It's amazing to look at because I'm doing interventional radiology right now, and we're just doing imaging and stuff to see how far this thing has gone. It is like, wow, this thing, it's essentially a cancer at this point because the baby's out. So it was growing. It was sucking blood from every blood vessel it could. So it's pretty cool to see. They've done like 2 already, and they still have to keep doing it. They have no idea. They just found out that it was in the bladder like after the first one. They couldn't even tell. They couldn't even get close because.
I mean, honestly, they're probably gonna have to remove the bladder.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem. They definitely want to remove the uterus. They don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, when you get all kinds of problems once you remove the bladder.
And she's the sweetest lady. That's the toughest.
It's always the nice people that all the bad stuff happened to.
I know. She's got a cute little girl, though. So she's super happy, super grateful. It's a rare thing. Oh, yeah. But the only reason I brought this up was because how far we've come. We're like, okay, the sweetest lady, the lady that deserves to be able to raise this little girl, she deserves to get a fighting shot. It's not a perfect shot. If anything, it's experimental, but it's way better than like 100 years ago where you're looking at her and you're like, shit.
Yeah, not even 100.
She's bleeding. Oh,
dude,
definitely
50 years ago. Smallpox still existed.
Or 1970s would be 50.
Dude, the smallpox still existed until the 60s, 70s. People were dying of smallpox still then.
People were dying for a long time,
smallpox, the vaccine came out in the 1800s?
Wasn't it? Yeah. Wasn't it smallpox? They took the cow pox and they would scrape it off and then they would put the cow
literally inject it into you.
Inject it into your little scabs. Yeah. Oh,
well, I mean, the thing is that killed so many people. That killed 90% of the Native Americans.
I was about to say, the Native Americans were
it wiped out. And then, before penicillin, syphilis was what came back to Europe. And then there's a reason why during the Renaissance, they wore all the masks.
Yeah. Syphilis was huge. Throughout all of history. That was what penicillin was used for before anything else. It was holy crap, we have something to cure syphilis with.
And luckily, penicillin cured a lot of things.
Even after that, syphilis still had so much of an impact. Hitler had syphilis, even after we had penicillin.
Yeah, a bunch of people still have syphilis.
The lady that did Prohibition, too, Carrie Ann Nation, she had syphilis. Yeah, get checked.
Yeah, not good.
When I was in my peds rotation, there is a ton of chlamydia in New York City.
Yeah,
a lot. Yeah. I mean
there's a lot of people.
I was learning how to do IVs and everything. So I would ask people that were coming in and they would get checked for chlamydia. This is the peds rotation, but I was in the peds ER and they dealt with even the minor stuff, if they were 21. So especially that 16 to 21 range, minor stuff would go there, and that's your STD community. Yeah. But so he, I would always ask him too. I'd be like, oh, you want to get checked for that? But also we can check for HIV and everything else. Let me check that blood.
Let me just go and check it all out.
I'm okay, yeah. I was cranking them out every time I could. Yeah. I was like a salesman. It was my first rotation, so I was selling people on getting their blood drawn.
I mean, essentially, that's what you have to do these days. The way medicine is in this country, it's you got to sell a lot of what you're trying.
Yourself, especially as a med student. When you realize you can do something, you're like, okay, I'm going to maximize. Yeah. Except for when you have to do the fecal blood test.
Oh, the fecal, the one that we have still yet to figure out if a certain someone went and did one too many.
Yeah. So I guess you didn't have to do one of those in the ER since you didn't bring it up.
No, I did one. Only one.
A little supervised.
And then immediately afterwards, the attending was like, yo, what's the deal with all the students who don't know how to do a rectal exam?
You're like, I do.
I know I'd do it.
My joke would always be you stick the thumb out and you're like, yeah, you just use this, right? Nah. And then, but the face, I don't advise somebody in a bad mood to say that too, because they're a little shocked.
Yeah, you got to be careful who you say things to when they're attendings. But the attending,
a cool one though. That's funny because they're because at first they think you're serious and they're like, damn, this kid's stupid.
You know the attending you like in the ER, the one you told me about? I don't know if you should name names, but you were saying we both liked him.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm talking about. Well, like, I come back after watching a Central.
You find Dr. Lee.
Good man, good man.
Yeah.
I come back from a Central, and like first thing he says to me, he's like, "Yo, so the other doc put it straight into carotid, right? Good work, right?" And I'm just like, "Wait, what? No, like that's terrible. You can't put it in there." And like, in case you're wondering, like, you put a central line in the carotid. Well, let's just say your patient ain't going to be alive for much longer.
That's a lot of calls you don't want to make. Because you can't handle all of that.
No, you call vascular immediately, and vascular pretty much makes your life a living hell for the rest of your time at that hospital.
Yeah, that's the one thing that scares me is like a situation like that. Like as I think about it, I'm like, all I want to do is do so many opportunities of like as many central lines or whatever that I can because like heaven forbid I'm by myself and it's 3 a.m. in the morning and I have to call vascular.
Yeah, or at any point in the day.
Anytime.
They just don't like it.
Anytime.
I know at the hospitals I rotated at, you're allowed to put in centrals as a PGY1, your first year resident, in internal medicine in the ICU. And like it has happened a couple times where like they had to call vascular, and surgery would send down their residents to go and take care of it, and they'd be like, well, this is why we don't let anyone put in a central line until they're at least PGY2 or in their second year, and because it's it can lead to some serious problems.
I mean, that's the interesting thing is that like everything comes with a cost.
Yeah. If you screw up,
it's super important, but you gotta be playing.
If you screw up,
you gotta be sanitary. You have to do the things
sanitary. Right. Make sure you're putting it in the right vessel.
God, yes, that's why it's important to pay attention. Yeah. All right, I got some rapid fire questions.
All right, throw them out
you.
there.
All right, what's your first doctor purchase?
First doctor purchase, new phone.
New phone. What phone do you have now?
It's iPhone 10, but like the entire screen's cracked. I'm waiting for some money. I've been paying to do work for the past 4 years.
I was expecting something more extravagant, especially since you have a 10?
Yeah. Bro, yeah, but like half my screen's gone.
Yeah,
bro,
you've had that same wallpaper since Grenada.
Dude, I mean, you want an interesting answer for that, you got to ask Lewis. I'm sure he's got some interesting purchases on the table for that.
I just didn't know. Okay, so what's your first big purchase?
Big purchase.
That's going to be like a $300 purchase for you.
Big purchase.
I bet you got a plan.
I'm going to go and like buy a whole bunch of stock in like... I don't know. What's it going to be? What's the big one? What's going to make what's Dogecoin? Altera?
We'll ask Kunal. I think Lewis said the exact same answer.
What's going to let me retire the quickest? On surgery, that's all I heard about. The surgeons were like, "Oh yeah, just bought like another 15 grand Dogecoin," and I'm like, "Okay, that's your weekly salary, all right."
I mean, some people have made a ton of.
Oh yeah,
it's insane. None of them has physical money
until people realize they're like buying nothing.
The thing is, it has to be spent. Yeah, you have to buy it to spend it. Yeah. But you can't just buy it and sit.
I mean, like, let's be real. It's just like any stock. However much anyone wants to pay for it, that's how much it's going to cost. And as long as people are willing to pay several $1,000s.
Wally will be looking for a Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. More or less. What's the next one?
All right. Do you have a pre or post test ritual? Or like meal or something.
Yeah, get hammered.
Okay, that is his post. I will say, I spent most of my medical school with this man. That's definitely his post-test ritual for sure.
Get hammered.
For sure.
Straight bottle of the hardest thing I can find.
Find me a beach and a bottle. I'll be fine.
Vodka in America, well, they don't serve vodka in Grenada, so it was Rivers rum, which was the closest thing I could get to Everclear.
Yes.
Only 75% alcohol.
I couldn't drink Rivers.
That's soft.
It wasn't the Rivers. We had to go for the other 110.
I know. You brought me down.
Yeah, Wally was like, come on now. The other one.
Bro, it was only 75% alcohol. Everclear is 98.
Oh, the other one.
Everclear in America.
I could not drink Rivers straight. It just tasted like I was dying.
It wasn't that bad.
I know.
I've had worse.
This man is a champ. You want him.
Yeah. America's
you want
lucky.
Him on your beer fest.
America's lucky that there's COVID right now.
What? Okay. Do you do anything like before the test though?
Before the test? Relax. Watch whatever Netflix show I'm doing.
Okay.
Because I mean, like, a lot of people like to go and like, what is it? Like cram and stuff. Honestly, if you don't know it, like, especially with medicine the night before a test, you're not going to go and like get yourself to know it like in those hours before. Might as well get a good night's sleep. Watch whatever you're watching on Netflix. Watch Arcane. Arcane was amazing.
That's what I was about to. Yeah. So, do you have a feel good, or do you just watch whatever? Whatever stick to what you're watching. And
I always stick to what I'm watching. I can't watch multiple shows at once. But yeah, no, like, there isn't one show I watch. Whatever I'm watching at the time.
So, okay, if you had to choose one job not in medicine, what would it be?
Probably coach. Yeah.
Would you coach? So you were a swimmer. Would you swim coach?
I mean, I could. I'd probably prefer like soccer, honestly.
You look like a soccer coach. In your
dude, I've got multiple tracksuits at home.
I'm ready. He really
ready.
Does. I was going to be Ted Lasso for Halloween. This man is the first person I contacted.
Yeah, it was the wrong color though. All black tracksuit. Not the bright blue. But yeah, no, like definitely coaching, especially if you can get like a good coaching gig somewhere.
Would you want to coach like college or high school?
If I was able to, yeah. Like, I mean, like more competitive, yeah. College.
Do you know a lot about soccer?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. I follow it like religiously.
You do? Yeah, you do actually. Did you like play it?
Only when I was really little, and then like I had knee problems. And then that's when I stuck to swimming.
That's when you had the knee problems. The swimming was probably good for you. This man, I'm just looking at him, you would not think that he's a swimmer. Not in a bad way, just like, we're both tall. Yeah. This man hit the ocean and just was like stroking. It was amazing. I was like, oh my God, that's a hidden talent for sure.
Yeah, no, don't work out as much as I used to, I won't lie.
This man is a fish. Okay, so you would be a coach. You would essentially be Ted Lasso.
Yeah, more or less. I think we've got a similar person. Actually, I don't know. Maybe me and Beard have more of a similar personality.
I think you and Beard actually might. That's a great show, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Definitely watch it. Amazing. Mm-hmm. I'm just waiting for that third season to see. I don't want to give away anything for anyone who hasn't seen it, but the third seas's going to have some... Oof.
Yeah, I haven't seen the end of the second season.
Still? Not yet? Well, then good thing I didn't say anything.
No.
Good thing I didn't say anything.
The Christmas special was a great one. During Christmas time, that would have been amazing to watch, which we didn't. But
wait till the end of second season. You're gonna see. You're gonna see some things.
All right, next one. Like, if you had to pick the perfect place to live, where would it be? Would it be here? Right?
Yeah, Jersey. Right. Second best would be like Philippines.
That's what I was about. Yeah. Okay, I figured.
Yeah.
Wally
Philippines
is
great
from the Philippines, right? Or you were born in Jersey? Yeah.
I was born here. I mean, Philippines, great place to retire. But I mean, in America, I'd choose Jersey over any other place. Everything's better in Jersey. I don't give a crap what people in Texas say.
I honestly, Jersey grew on us.
Well, you haven't even been here in good times. You're here in like shitty times.
Well, honestly, it helped out that we were, because we were like, man, all the restrictions in New York and everything, we were like, not worth it.
Yeah.
And like, just being in Jersey was so better. Like the curfew was later, like, especially during like the hard quarantine. The curfew was better. Everything was better. Things were open.
Yeah.
And even now, like, I mean, there's some rough parts of Jersey City, but
I mean,
this place is nice. Like,
no, Jersey City's fine now, and especially when you compare it to other cities nowadays.
Unpopular opinion, but I like it better in New York.
I grew up here.
I wouldn't want to be not close to it.
If you want my honest opinion, city-wise, like pure city to have fun in, I liked Philly more than New York. Jersey, always better to go out in than New York. But I mean, New York isn't bad. Just be ready to spend a lot of money, because that's the one thing. Everything you can do in New York you can do for almost half price in Jersey, which is the best thing.
That's the real, and you can do it for a third in Georgia.
Yeah, you can get and then like depending on what you're into, like you've got like all kinds of like food, like every single culture of food. Anything you want in Jersey, same thing in New York. It's like you got everything here. And yeah, you don't have to deal with the crowds. Yeah. And especially, see, you're here in COVID, so you haven't dealt with the crowds of New York. But before COVID, oh man, don't even think about, like, you got to plan out like your entire subway trip, everything. You can't even drive in the city.
So I had been here just like once or twice in my life before, and I had gotten like kind of a feel, like it was definitely way more packed, like the fact like of just the everyday monotony of like packing out a subway car and doing all that. Like I definitely saw a lot of that, but definitely it was just vacation when I came here. But when I came here after COVID, it was definitely not that. Especially when I came COVID, there was like almost, it was like it had been cut. It was like a quarter of what it normally is. And even now it's picked up, but it's not, it was not the same.
Oh yeah, no.
It's not the same.
I mean, like one of the biggest things why I say Philly, more fun city to be in, you can actually drive around Philly. New York, don't even think about you can drive around. And then like if you're like just trying to get anywhere on a daily basis, you got to plan out like your full like subway trip, and especially if you're trying to go all the way to like Brooklyn, you got to go and plan out your subways in Manhattan, like just how to like the train to take to Manhattan, and then to go and take it further into Brooklyn. It's like just too much. Just stay in Jersey, nice and easy.
Even in Jersey, y'all suck at driving. Y'all are wild,
dude. We just know how to drive defensively.
It is like that. It's like you got to be a sword and a shield.
Yeah, we just know how to drive defensively.
Yeah. All right. What island in the Philippines are you from?
So my mom was born in Cuyo and Palawan, which is an incredibly small island between two of the largest islands. So Palawan is the island, or like it's not just an island. It's actually like, I guess you'd compare it to a state in the U.S. where all of like the vacation destinations are, like all of those like greatest beaches, like Corona, like commercial style beaches you see on TV. That's where they are in the Philippines. So like that's where my mom's from. And this island is like halfway between that and Leyte. The other major island, which has the capital on it and most of the people. And now most of my family's in the capital of Manila, which is the most densely populated city in the world. So like there's more people in like a square mile than anywhere else in the world. But it's one hell of a city and definitely different than any other place you'll ever be.
Really? One of the like major places we have to visit, me and Maribeth have talked about, is going to the Philippines.
Go to the Philippines.
You gotta come show. We're gonna call you. We're forcing you to come with us.
Do it. Because, I mean, don't trust what Lewis says. Lewis spent too much time with the lady boys. He'll send you to questionable places. But no, like Philippines, especially for Americans, it's really good because we were colonized by America for like 50 years. My grandpa fought as a guerrilla, technically under the American Army, colonial army.
That's it's citizenship.
Well, he was promised a lot of things, but we'll get into that another day. He was made a lot of promises, but
you're writing my list of demands.
So like everyone in the Philippines speaks English. That's one good thing. Like no matter what island you go, you could go to like the most obscure island. They'll know at least a little bit of English because of the whole, literally an American colony all the way up until like 1947.
Oh.
So, and like a lot of like the culture itself is also very Americanized. Like it was colonized by Spain for 500 years. So a lot of the food, architecture, Spanish, a lot of Spanish words in the language.
Yeah. I know you count in Spanish.
Yeah. So, and like a whole bunch of other words.
Wally is teaching himself Spanish, and it was so funny because I was like, don't you speak Spanish? He was like, sort of.
Sort of. I know some words. But yeah, so like you'll see a distinct culture that way. Like, but like we've got like empanadas, like chicharron, all that stuff. But with an Asian twist on it too. And so like, because we're in Asia. And then we also have like all the American stuff too. We've got all of your American like fast food places, like American like style food, and that also influenced it too, and like all the English speaking. So it's a good place. It's a good place for you guys. Good way to introduce yourself to Asia, especially Southeast Asia.
The interesting thing is, do you feel Filipino when you go to the Philippines? Like, because
they know that I'm a mix. They know instantly I'm a mix when I'm there.
Yeah. Okay. So
everyone knows.
I guess the best way, there is no video. Wally is a pretty pale Filipino. Like when I first met him, I just assumed you were, honestly, he's very, very tall. He's not a stereotypical Filipino in the least bit. No. He's a tall, a thin man, and he's pale complexion. But he would always wear jerseys that were not in English. At first I thought he was like maybe Icelandic or something. I was like, he's got to be. Yeah. Well, he was over here. And then he was like, oh no, I'm Asian. I was like, what? No,
because I'd always wear the Filipino jersey. And the thing is, in the Filipino, even though like it's like the same alphabet as English, so it's like all the same letters, but the one difference is that there's no F, so they just use the P. So it'd be like Pilipinas, and Jordan would be like, "What the hell does Pilipinas mean?"
Yeah,
like,
I had no idea.
It's Filipino, like bro. Like, what do you mean Pilipinas? Like
that's essentially what I thought he was doing.
Yeah,
I thought that's why he was wearing the jersey.
But yeah,
you did have a party jersey that I saw him frequently every time. His post-test outfit is a ritual. 100%.
It was my party outfit. I had to let the people know that I'm ready to go.
He would wear. What was the jersey?
It was the Filipino national basketball team.
That's what it was.
Because fun fact, basketball is the biggest sport. Basketball and boxing are the biggest sports and knife fighting, but that's not like official. That's
what I want to see when I go.
You'll definitely see that if you go down the right alleyway.
I want to see a sanctioned one, not just an alleyway. I can find that in New York.
But yeah, no, basketball and boxing are the two biggest sports. And then like other martial arts, knife fighting, and also like cockfighting, the chicken fights.
Yeah, when I was in Ecuador, I saw a couple of like the cockfighting rings, and like right around the corner is a bunch of cocks.
Yeah, those are big. Those are actually televised in the Philippines.
Oh, really? It's a wild like culture when you're doing it. Like some people have said it's like fun. Like I'm talking to Ecuadorians and stuff like that.
I mean, it's a gambling thing. So like everyone you go to, it's like horse racing in America or dog racing. Mm-hmm. Like you go there and you bet a lot of money. Like when I go, like where my family goes, like it's exciting for them to go to like ones where it's like lower bets. Like you've got a max bet at like each place. So like where we'd go like 5,000 pesos, but like Manny Pacquiao would have like a cockfighting ring where you could go and make like minimum bet was 100,000 pesos. So like people will throw away money.
Spanish currency though.
We call it a peso. It's Filipino pesos, but ours is like
so it's still a peso, right? Like is it so the like same conversion?
No. Like that's the thing. Like dude, pesos is like in like so many countries, like not just like Mexico and like all those, but like they're different conversion rates
so it would be
per the country.
No matter what.
So like ours is better than Mexico's. Yeah.
I was like
we all say peso,
yeah. It's not.
So like it's like better than Mexico's conversion rate, but it's still like 2-to-1 last I checked.
So when the European countries they combine their currency, is that the same conversion rate though?
I don't know what it is at the moment, but like I know for the longest time it was better than the US dollar. I don't know what it is at the moment.
I'm only asking Wally all these ridiculous questions because he literally knows everything. Like before I even started this podcast, he was just explaining things that I didn't even understand. Like I didn't even think people were like looking up or knowing. And he would just be like, "Oh, by the way, did you know certain people are struggling?" I was like, "What?" It's amazing. So that's why I throw every hard concept at him because it's amazing what he actually answers.
I mean, I don't know what its exact conversion rate is, but for the longest time since it started, the euro was worth more than the dollar.
Yes, and I think it is now. I think it was like Germany and a couple other. It was honestly, I think it was back when I was like in high school, maybe even before. But they switched to like a generalized currency. I think it was the euro.
Yeah, it was a euro.
But I don't know if it's the same conversion rate because I understand why Spain and the Philippines would have different.
It got better for some countries, worse for I mean, like that's one controversy with the whole European Union. Like for some countries, it's very good. And then other countries feel like they're carrying the weight of other countries. So it's like...
That's why it would be difficult to have multiple countries under the same currency. Yeah. I think they were struggling with the fact that people were trading currency and like making money.
Yeah, like the biggest deal is like they've got the big countries in the European Union, like France, Germany are the big ones. And like they felt like they were carrying other countries, like smaller countries, and putting them on their back. Yeah. And they're like, I don't want to do this or whatever. But then they also had benefits with trade and whatnot. So it's like,
we definitely have to go to the Philippines.
Do it. I approve.
Oh, what is your favorite dish to cook? Because this man can cook. That also was a huge surprise. I was blessed to have you as a roommate. You taught me so many things. Sisig.
Sisig is good for parties. I love sisig for parties. Lumpia is good.
Make a good sisig. Yeah. I am a white boy, so when I make sisig, it really impresses the party and disgusts my family.
Yeah, so like sisig is it's like you're using like the pig face to go and make it. Like so like the story behind sisig, like this goes back to actually American colonization. So like America like colonized the Philippines, and in a lot of places like the Americans would go and keep like the best parts of the pig for themselves and like chicken, and then like they would go and sell it at a very cheap price, like the leftovers. So like a lot of Filipinos made like this big dish out of it, and they would go and like use the pieces of like the pig and chicken that like the Americans wouldn't eat. So like the chicken liver and like the pig face, and they'd get it like mad cheap. So what they do is like they'd go and like chop up like the pig face and the chicken liver, like grill it up, go and fry it up too, which gives it this like distinct flavor. And then they'd go and season it all together and serve it in like a sizzling iron cast dish. And you go and put an egg on top, and it's like this big bar food nowadays.
I'm not going to lie. I have not had a better drunk food, in quotations, than Waffle House, other than sisig. Like, and I don't know. Have you ever had Waffle House?
No, not yet.
Man, that's not...
It's not that big up here. No.
And sisig, there's something about it. Yeah. It literally...
Every bar
right
in the
up there, I was
Philippines.
like, wow.
Yeah. Every bar in the Philippines, you can get it. It's actually like the go-to for like drunk food. Yeah.
It's insane. It's actually really good.
It is. It kind of tastes like, I don't know, like how to describe it. It tastes like maybe if you threw in like crispy bacon with like pork fat and then like, I don't know, all the good stuff.
I don't know. I like it. Okay, so what is your favorite thing to cook though? Because you used to make curry and all
I'd make like curry. Like I'd make like kari, which is like Filipino curry with peanut butter. I used to make like mole. I'd probably
is
say...
that just the
like
dark
just,
sauce that's
the
on
chocolate,
the enchiladas?
Yeah, the chocolate.
Oh, okay, that's a Spanish thing.
Yeah. I mean, the barbecue is always the best. Like, I made, like, inasal, which is, like, Filipino, like, seasoned just barbecue chicken. So... I like those. Yeah, I had some good cooking moments.
Yeah, he really did. He would come over, and I would just watch Wally cook something, so that I could actually learn how to do it. And then we would work through. I would watch him. I would like help him, but it was really like I needed to watch.
Jordan helped, and then like Lewis just showed up to eat. Lewis would come in like, "Where's my morning beer? Where's my food?"
He really did. He taught so much. It was amazing. Like you just watch him work. It was very impressive. So I would watch you make curry and stuff. Oh my god!
I taught him a couple things.
I remember sitting in the kitchen in our little dorm room, and like we would go over what was going to be on the test, what we thought would be on the test, and Wally would just be cooking. I would just be watching, like remember exactly what he's doing. Because I have no idea. I didn't get taught. Like
he learned more cooking of foreign foods in med school than maybe even medicine.
Yo, I think that might be one of the most important things about me going.
It's like you ever watch Anthony Bourdain? Greatest way to go and learn another country, like its culture, anything. It's
no
food.
Reservations.
That was one of them, and then I forget the other one.
I absolutely love the cooking shows where they go to another. I think there's another one.
Like you want
to the bigger guy that he goes around. He has an interesting like he eats with the family, and then he eats like usually like a crazy dish.
Yeah, I forget his name. But if there's one way, if you ever want to learn anything about any other country, any other group of people, just start with their food.
Yes,
and that's where it all begins.
Food, conversation,
and food, conversation, and drinks,
and boom,
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you have no idea where. Like one of the beautiful things that my uncle really pushed it on us early because he wanted us. We went to Peru. Like when I graduated high school, he bought me a trip to hike Machu Picchu, but I couldn't do it because of like I was playing college football and stuff. So we went like a couple years later with my little brothers as well. So all three of us went. But he would like harp on how you just gotta you gotta go experience it. You gotta experience it. And then I went to Ecuador and just going experiencing and meeting all these cultures and just being a part of it for just a second. Like it's impressive how many people will be like accepting. And I would do the same thing. Like if somebody just was like, "Oh, I'm curious," come in and you eat with them, you learn a little bit. Oh,
because that's the biggest thing. Like
so fulfilling.
A lot of people feel like if you're willing to go and try their food, like you're willing to go and try new things.
It's a gateway to meeting somebody on the street and be like, "Hey, let me ask you a question," is not the way to meet somebody.
Yeah. Like the thing is, you got to go and find not 5-star restaurants, resorts, that stuff. You got to go and find out. Just go and find like a food truck. Like you go to Mexico, find like a vendor, that type of things, and then that's when you go and really like realize like what a taco is. Like you don't want like Taco Bell like stuff. You want like a real taco. You go and find like the taqueria, just like Anthony Bourdain did. Like he would go around to places like. It was never he did go and occasionally stop by like some crazy famous like restaurant or friend, but like he would go by and just go to like whoever's down on the street, like a hawker or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how many like great experiences you can have when you just kind of let it go with the flow. I think one of the coolest experiences when I went to Peru was we went on Lake Titicaca, which is like I think it separates Peru and Bolivia. Yeah. I could be wrong. I need it.
No, you're right.
Okay. Thank you. See, I'm telling you, he knows everything. So highest navigable lake in the world, I'm pretty sure. On this lake, we first go see there's these like reed islands. It's how the natives used to live or something like that. But there's actual islands on like that we went and we stayed with a host family and we just stayed with them. Obviously they like take people in and you know I think they get paid for whatever they but this family, they essentially we hung out with them for I think it was 2 days, maybe it was a little bit longer, but we essentially they had no actual like communication with the government, right? Because they're in between Peru and Bolivia. And it was a way for these people to, I think there was like a war or something like that. They hid on this island. So the island has no government jurisdiction. So they don't pay taxes. They don't do anything. But also they have no
support, right?
They have no health care. They have no road system. They have no they have the island government, which is, I mean, it's a tight-knit community is what it is. You know, they're nice people, but they also rely on what we were doing, which was, I think there was only 2 families that did it too, but they had to fish for everything they ate, so when we ate quinoa. I think we had fish once, but it was like a little. I think we had quinoa most of the time, because it's an easy thing for me to find. But oh god, it was so great to like sit there, the wife's making food, you know, and you get to experience like this whole thing, you know, meeting the family and stuff, wife's breastfeeding right at the table. You're like, right in the Spanish culture, baby.
Oh, yeah. You're right in there.
That's when you know you're in. That's when you know you're in. Okay, we should just end on the fun stuff. I mean, come on.
All right.
Yeah, this has been an amazing time with you, Wally. Morristown, you need to hire this man. It has been great. If you have any questions for this future doctor, you can email us at offwhitecoatpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Instagram at offwhitecoatpodcast. Wally, you're the best, man. And we'll have you on plenty of other times.
Oh, yeah. I'll stop by again.
Of course. All right. We out.
Hey everyone, I want to take this time to tell you about our friends over at TrueLearn. They have this top-of-the-line test bank that is perfect for any upcoming board exams that you may have. They have test banks for all types of exams. So whether you're studying for medical school, nursing school, OT, pharmacy, and others like speech pathology, TrueLearn is the way to go. If you're like me and going through medical school, they have a question banks for all the big exams, like Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3, with quality assessments for each exam. Look, I know we didn't go into healthcare because we love taking tests. This is the hard part of the job. Make it easy on yourself with TrueLearn. Sign up now with the code OFFWHITECOAT to get $25 off your purchase. That's OFF WHITECOAT, no spaces, to get $25 off your purchase. This is a test bank that you do not want to pass up on. Make this easy on yourself. Take the deal, pass your boards, and get back to enjoying the reason you went into healthcare. And make sure to use Off-White Coat when you pick it up.